All right, here we are back on podcast episode. What is this one?
Numero quattro.
Quattro?
Yeah.
Gillette Quattro?
I barely have to shave, dude, and you don't shave either.
I don't shave at all. I haven't shaved in...
Look at that fucking beard.
Yeah, I haven't shaved in... fuck, man.
Well, now I can actually see your beard because we did a little bit of tampering with the hardware. And
Yeah, we removed the pop filter.
well, we removed one of them.
One of them, yeah.
And it's more comfortable this way.
I think so, and I can see your face.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick for figuring this one out with me the other night. And in a 3-hour conversation that we didn't record because he's not on the podcast yet. Soon, buddy, soon.
Yeah. What was I saying again?
Numero quattro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my beard. I haven't shaved in... a razor has not touched this face in a few years.
It's funny because the other day, Derek came inside, took off his hat, and everybody's like, oh, Jesus, we're so blessed.
Oh, yeah, because I'm usually wearing a hat, so no one sees the top of my head.
No, or your eyes, or your face.
It's generally well covered.
Yeah, you're just like a whole different person, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, like people are always surprised that I have a personality once they actually start talking to me.
People were surprised as shit. It was you and I doing the podcast. They're like, Derek who? I'm like,
Derek who? Yeah, exactly.
Like, the guy that stands outside. Oh, him? It's like,
yeah, the guy who doesn't talk to anyone all day and has a grimace on his face.
That guy.
Yeah,
that guy.
So that's just me in work mode though. So yeah.
You see me out. I still talk at work, so it's not like it's any different.
Yeah. No, I'm really quite a social butterfly.
You?
I am. No, I really am.
I know you are, just not in that particular environment.
Because when I'm at work, I take work seriously. So that's why people are actually sometimes even afraid to talk to me.
That's why most people
just look angry.
Most people haven't. Well, I guess I shouldn't say most people, but a lot of people haven't started talking to you up until they actually figured out that you and I were on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Because normally you'd be too busy chasing crackheads.
I miss that.
I saw you chasing one
the other day. Yeah, last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was
good
funny.
old days.
Eh?
Love it. I love it.
This is bad because we're both off our talking game right now.
No, yeah.
We're not baked like last time.
Yeah.
Or 2 episodes ago. That was just bad. We've only had a little bit to drink, but I'm having a sour week, and Derek just got quiet out of nowhere all of a sudden. Okay, should we do story time?
Oh, yeah. Let's start, please. Okay. Story time with Dom and Derek.
Story time with Dom and Derek. Did you think of a story? Okay, so you have up until I finish my story.
No. Like when you mentioned that, I had something come to mind.
Okay, yeah. So we thought, since Derek and I have only been hanging out with for 4 months now,
best buds.
We thought we'd be even better buds by sharing some stories about some of our shenanigans or fun, cool stuff that's happened to us at some point. So since it's my idea, I'll draw first blood, I guess.
Yeah, and we don't know what each other's story is.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're going to tell me. You don't know what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share a hillside story. And do you know what hillside is?
I don't know what hillside is.
So hillside is a festival, sadly canceled this year, that usually happens middle of July or end of July at Guelph Lake Island. It's a hippie festival, lots of music, lots of people. It's all out crammed on the island.
And you said a hippie festival? So lots of armpit hair.
It's not necessarily what I look at, but yeah, it's there.
Gotcha.
You see some interesting things.
Yep.
And the first year that I decided to go was in 2018, so 2 summers ago, technically. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I've heard about it. This looks cool. Everybody looks so cheery. Music looks dope. Artist looks cool. I want to go. And then I mentioned to my friends, like, nobody wanted to go. Somebody did want to go, but I didn't want to go with them. I'm like, no, you're just going to kill my vibe. So I went by myself. I just booked tickets for 3 days. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going. So I did. And I went for 3 days without knowing where I was going to sleep that night or any of those nights. Yeah. I just showed up. I'm like, fuck it. We'll figure it out as we go. And first day, pretty much just hung around at the main stage, went around, saw some other stages, just took in the scenery. And the first night, I ran into a buddy from high school, and he's like, oh, yeah, like, dude, you can totally come crash at our site, because they rented a campsite. I'm like, sweet. How do you get there? First right at the main gate, and then we're the first campsite on the right. I'm like, okay, that's easy, right. Pretty simple stuff. I was under influences that night, so after everybody left, and I didn't know that area very well at the time, I ended up on, like, some deer path, and eventually made it into the trailering section of Guelph Lakes, where there's like people in their big trailers.
Yeah.
And I totally crashed onto somebody's site. So turns out that site was Daryl from 107 Dave FM.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard their station. They're like they're out of Kitchener. And he's all like, oh yeah, dude, just like, don't worry about this. Fuck your friends. You don't need them. You can hang out with us. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He's like, no, here, have a drink. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, have a seat. Just hung out with that crew for the rest of the night for about, I don't know, 4 hours. Cause this was like from 11 o'clock to like 3 a.m. Then turns out, yeah, he was cool. He was giving me booze. Then there was another guy at the site who was friends with my best friend's older brother. And he was one of the coordinators for the festival. And he was hooking me up with ciders all night. So I'm like, this is sick. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, I can prove this. I have photo evidence of this. But it was just so weird because it was just so welcoming. I eventually found my car by about 5 a.m. It took me about an hour and a half. And I'm like evading security, trying to get to my car to sleep in my car. It was awesome. I met a lot of strangers, met a lot of cool people and that was only day one. I have a proclivity to find interesting people, I guess you could say, even though they're, I don't usually plan on it. It just kind of ends up that way.
No. And if you're going to find interesting people, it's going to be at some freaking hippy dippy Woodstock type.
Yep. Just stumble on their campsite and just sit down, make some friends. And there were a good like 10 of them too, so it was kind of intimidating at first. But I'm just like, fuck it, let's do it. That's my story. That's my first night at Hillside.
Cool. So whenever so the first story that popped in my head, I don't know why it was this one, but people seem to like to hear this one. It's the time I got a fish hook in my eye. So
do tell.
We went fishing. And I was the only catch of the day. And it was in my eye.
Who'd you go fishing with?
So it was me, my brother, and my buddy, who shall remain nameless. He knows who he is. Bastard. So literally within the first 5 minutes we were there. I jumped up on this boulder on the edge of the water, started casting out. Wasn't getting any bites. I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch my lure. I jumped down from the boulder. And then my buddy jumped up there, and he started taking some casts, I guess. So I was a good maybe 10 feet behind the boulder. I was crouched down over the tackle box, and I was switching out my lure. And then I stood up as I was retying, and something smacked me in the face. I was like, oh, what the fuck was that?
Ooh.
And that's when I realized I had the fishing lure. I had it like I felt it dangling off my face, but I was wearing glasses at the time, so it's before I had LASIK. And I'm thinking, okay, it's just hanging off the frames of my glasses.
Ooh.
But then I started blinking, and I can feel the metal against my eyeball. And I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna say his name because it'll be easier to tell, and he'll know. No, Joe. Damn it, Joe.
Joe, you fucked up.
I turned around. I was like, oh, Joe, I think you got me. And then he looked over at me, and his mouth just dropped, and he was like, oh shit, because he could see that it was in my eye. I'm like, is it in there? And he's like, fuck.
That's what she said.
Hey man, it was cold that night. So so here's the thing too, is that I always tell him and my brother to bend down the barbs on the hook, because it's that extra little piece of metal near the tip of the hook so it's a better grip on the fish, so you don't lose the fish. I tell them bend those down because it's easier to release the fish. Obviously, it's less trauma to the fish, but also if you ever get hooked in the finger, it's easy to take out of your finger.
I'm squeamish as fuck.
Okay, so this was a brand new like 3-inch spoon treble hook out of the box that he did not bend the barbs down. So we spent a few minutes there trying to pull this thing out of my eye right by the lake, and it was not budging because of those barbs, because every time he would pull back, the barb would catch. And remember, this thing is like in the corner of my eye, so like on the outside of my eye, like where your eyelids meet to the outside, it had gone in there, and the tip was just poking under the skin near my temple. and one of the other, because it's a treble hook, so it's got the 3 hooks. The other treble hook was in my cheek. So I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work lakeside. We obviously have to go to the hospital now. So we all jump in the car, grab our stuff, jump in the car, and I'm sitting in the back seat. I don't have my glasses on. I'm kind of just like holding the lure in place because it was a 3-inch metal spoon, so it's pretty heavy. It's just swinging, so it's adding more pressure. So I was just holding on to it. So my brother was the one driving because we were in our neck of the woods at the time. So I said, just drive us to the hospital. My brother drove in the opposite direction for a good 15 minutes. Because I'm in my head, I'm going, why is it taking so long? We should have been there by now. So I look out the window as best I could because I didn't have my glasses. I'm just seeing these open fields. I'm like, where are we going right? I'm like, so I asked him, like, when you turned out onto the road, did you go left or right? And he said right, which we should not have done.
Your brother fucked up.
Fucked up. He added an extra,
dick.
extra 15 minutes onto my misery for no reason. So we pull over. They switch seats, my buddy Joe and my brother. Hightail it back. We finally make it to the hospital. We walk in. There's a lineup at the ER, naturally. Because, Canada, free healthcare. Yay. Got a sniffle. Got a runny nose. Got to go to the ER. We go and get in line. There's a guy ahead of me with a towel wrapped around his arm. And you can see it's soaked in blood, and it's literally dripping. So we asked him, what happened? He's like, we were renovating the house. We were moving a pane of glass. It broke, and it sliced me across the arm. Right? So that's what he was holding on to. So he looks, and I covered my face with a baseball cap at this point, just to not freak people out, because people are having the reaction that you're having.
Which is not very good ones.
Yeah. So I'm holding this baseball cap over my eye so no one sees. And he's like, so what happened to you? And I'm like, oh, well, I have a fishing hook in my eye. He's like, bullshit. So I removed the hat, and he's like, oh shit, get in front of me. I'm like, dude, you're bleeding out onto the floor. I'm pretty sure you need to see the doctor first. So we make our way through. He gets up to the desk. He gets helped out. He gets sent in. I go sit up at the desk. So the nurse is doing the triage. She's asking me the questions. So she's like, so what's the problem? What's the ailment? And I'm like, I have a fishing hook in my eye. And she's like, bullshit. For some reason, I don't know why. When you tell that to someone, they don't believe you.
you just got to show them.
I have to show them. So I dropped the hat, and she went, oh my God. Right? And I covered it again, and she kept asking me the questions, and as a joke, because this whole time, I'm not nervous or anything this whole time. I'm pretty calm in these stressful situations. So as a joke, I said, do you want to see it again? And then she said, do you want to wait longer? And I said, no. So
what a good sport.
Yeah. So we got assigned a room. I go over to the room, and then another nurse comes in a few minutes later. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go take X-rays now. And I'm like, X-rays? I'm like, why do we need to take X-rays? She's like, we need to see where the hooks are in your face. And I'm like, what do you mean we need to see where the hooks are? And I dropped the hat. I'm like, they're in my fucking face. I'm like, why do we need? You can see them, right? And she was just like, come with me. I'm like, okay, go friggin' do the X-rays. For what reason, I don't know. Come back, and this was back still in the good old days when they printed the X-rays on a big sheet of plastic, right?
And then they put them up on that light thing.
So we saw the nurse come back with the plastic, and she went and held it up to the light, and you can see her draw her head back, what the hell, what the hell? And then she looked over at me, looked back at the X-ray again, and just shook her head. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. And let me tell you, that was an amazing X-ray. So you see this perfect silhouette of a skeleton, and you see this 3-inch metal spoon with these with these hooks just sitting there in the middle of the face. So finally the doctor comes in, and he's like, let me take a look. And he's like, okay, he takes a look in a second. And he's like, okay, yeah, we can take it out. And I was like, just a second. I was like, you have to realize there's barbs on the end of this hook, so it's going to dig every time you pull on it. So I said, you should probably just push it the rest of the way through the skin, cut the tip off, and then back it out so it doesn't snag on the way back. I guess he didn't like being told what to do,
so he didn't do that.
So he didn't do that. And then he's like, no, I don't want to create another puncture wound. And I said, screw creating another puncture wound. I'm like, it's going to hurt if you try to back it out the way it came because of the barb. So he probably didn't understand what I was trying to say. I don't know.
Maybe he's never been fishing.
Anyways,
Probably never been fishing.
cut forward to where he kicks my brother and my buddy Joe out of the room because they were trying to tell him the same thing. Like, no, like you should push it through and kicks them out. He ends up giving me 3 shots of anesthetic down on the cheekbone because there's the one hooked on there. And then he gives me another 3 up around my eyelid and eyebrow for the one that's stuck in my eye. The 3 on the cheekbone worked, like the anesthetic worked. The 3 up near my eye didn't. Not one bit. So he pops the one out of my cheek quite easily. He starts to pull in that one in my eye, and just right away, pain. And I'm like, dude, give me more shots. I'm feeling everything. He's like, I can't. If I give you more shots, it's going to damage the nerves around your eye. And I'm like, wow, fuck. I'm like, can you push it through and cut it? And he's like, no, I'm going to pull it out. I'm like, well, here we go. He pulled this thing. Dude, it was 10 minutes of tugging and tugging and tugging. And I can hear my flesh ripping as he's pulling it out.
Thanks, Derek.
He finally pulls it out, starts sanitizing the area, sits me back up. So I'm like, he gives me some wipes to wipe my face. He lets my brother and buddy Joe in. Joe comes in and he's like staring at me blankly. But like, he's not staring at me. He's like staring a little off to the side of me, and I'm just like,
face.
What's up? I'm like, what's going on? And he just points at my shoulder and doesn't say anything. I'm like, huh? And I look down. There was a piece of flesh from my eye sitting on my shoulder. I'm like, we can leave that here. And I just picked it up and wrapped it in tissue and put it down.
Thanks, Derek. Now I'm squeamish as fuck. Oh,
yeah. So
that's half our audience.
That's how I got a fishing hook in my eye.
I think your story blew mine out of the water, to be fair.
And you know what? I wanted to go fishing again. Because like I said, it happened within the first 5 minutes we were there. I'm like, there goes our fishing day. I was actually quite upset.
Dedicated to the cause?
Yeah, like I told you, I love fishing.
I know you do. I was at work, and here's Derek with catches that picture you sent me, that nice, what the fuck was that, a bass?
It was a bass, yeah.
See, I know it. And I was like, you mother trucker. Here I am. With people
slaving away at work.
And here's Derek fishing.
On my day off, like I tell you I do.
No, I know you do. It's just my ass hasn't gone fishing. We got to go fishing one day.
We got to go fishing, but we never have days off together.
Well, maybe. I'm back to my normal job. You might be back to your normal job soon.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, so maybe our days off might line up at some point.
Maybe. We'll see. It's definitely got to happen because I haven't done shit this
summer.
As far as that, it doesn't even feel like summer.
No, it doesn't.
It's going to be like July in 2 days. It's Canada Day in 2 days.
Yeah.
I haven't done shit this summer. Actually, well, not really them. I'm not the only one for that matter. Unless you have like a cottage to go to.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, the Ontario government just opened up camping. Like they limited camping in Crown Land and provincial parks and stuff. Like, so I haven't been able to do that, and that's what I would have been doing since like March, April.
Well, it's shitty because I'm glad they're opening that. Like my favorite campground opened, except it's only with social distancing, and I have no idea how to social distance at that fucking place because It's like that is my favorite go-to spot to find strangers to talk to.
See, here's the thing:
and
is
it's
that
like, you want me to social distance there? How the fuck do you plan on me doing that? Go ahead.
But this is what doesn't make sense about the camping I do. I go camping on Crown Land. What that means for a lot of people don't know what Crown Land means. It means it's public land.
Yes.
It's land that belongs to you and me.
Yes.
So you have the right as a Canadian
to go
out there and spend
21 days
in a row in the same spot.
You could just move it like 20 feet down.
Yeah, I think it's like something ridiculous. Like you got to move it 100 meters every 21 days.
100 meters?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of acres of open wilderness. That's no problem. But don't worry about that.
Where's the closest patch around here?
Around here, nowhere. You'd have to go 2 hours north. Minimum 2 hours north. Because this is all private land down here.
What's the closest?
Oh, I'm not giving you my spots, bro.
Because I go fucking camping.
I'm not giving anyone my spots.
Fine.
But it's a minimum 2 hour drive. Not even 2 hours, because I have a spot that's an hour 40 from let's say the Brampton, Mississauga, Toronto area, If you're heading up the 400, it's an hour and 40 minutes to Crown Land.
You have to show me one day.
I will not show you. It's my spot.
That guy, eh?
No, I'll definitely show you. No,
I won't tell
sure.
anybody, I promise.
No. It's honestly like it's the best because but that's like what I was saying. It's that's the thing that didn't make sense to me is that they canceled camping on Crown Land during this time. I would literally be the only person within 10, 20 kilometers because when I like I hike, like I'll park my car where I can and then hike into the woods.
Yeah.
And find a secluded spot or a secluded lake, a secluded area near the water. I'm always along the water because I have to be fishing. But that's what didn't make sense to me. How can you cancel camping out in Crown Land when it's literally the most social distance I can put between me and another person?
True.
I'm the only one out there.
I can see both sides of that argument because if you didn't cancel, like if you left that as the exception, like you can't camp unless you go camping on Crown Land, then everybody and their dog would be on Crown Land.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Not a lot of people know what Crown Land is, and those
they would find out.
Yeah,
they would find out if that's the only, like if you make that as a set exception, except on Crown Land. It's like, what is Crown Land? Where is it close to me? Where can I go?
I don't think anyone would want to do it because it's not like a provincial park or anything like that where it's drive-in camping where you drive your car into your spot, you have a picnic table and a fire pit, and 10 feet to the left and 10 feet to the right are other people camping. It's not like that.
No, I know.
It's literally open wilderness.
Yes.
A lot of people don't like to do that.
True.
Right? I think we talked about it the last time.
Glamping. No. I just can't take it seriously.
I can't.
If that's your thing, that's your thing, but I just can't take it seriously.
I can't. Yeah.
Way to shame your ancestors who lived in caves and fought lions and then lived in mud huts.
Yeah.
And then here you are living in a yurt that's
with air conditioning. Fuck. Where's the Wi-Fi?
Oh my god.
Oh, where's the Wi-Fi tree?
It's the really big one on the other side of the lake. You got to swim to it to get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Well, it's like I have a couple different modes of camping. It's like when I go camping, like either we go to that campground where it's like social as fuck.
Yeah.
And like the whole point there is just to hang out with people. Or I'll go camping I have my own spot at Guelph Lake, even though it's like a provincial campground, like what you just said. It's like I have a favorite area to go camping. It's like I'll go by myself for like 3 days. I'll barely be on my phone. I'll just like work on a book or write. Take life notes or like examine myself headwise. Like it's a good like reset period, but I'm completely the fuck alone, or I like to be alone anyway. So there's 2 variations of camping. What's up?
Oh, here's another story. Quick little tidbit of the time that my family thought that me and my brother-in-law had died while we went out camping. So like I said, where we go, there's no cell reception. There's no Wi-Fi, there's nothing. Push. It's just you're out there. So while we're out there, and we give them a timeline too. It's like expect us to call you back or text you back when we're back at the car at this time, right? So it's like 2 or 3 days. You don't hear from us after 2 or 3 days, something's wrong. So I always tell people where I'm going. I'll even like show them a map, and I'll say, "This is it. This is where I'm going to be camping. It's going to be right here along the shoreline here, whatever."
Which is
just let them know
what you're supposed to do properly.
Exactly. So we had done that, and we went out to this lake, and we were winter camping at the time. So it's a little more dicey than summer camping, because that's when things really mean something, like making a fire in a proper shelter when it's minus 30. So we were out there, and apparently, unbeknownst to us, 2 snowmobilers had fallen through the ice and died.
Like in the same part?
At the same lake.
At the same time?
At the same time we were there.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And they can't get in contact with us or anything like that. So it was like us out there for 2 or 3 days. And then I guess they had waited until, because obviously no one had contacted them yet in the 2 or 3 days that it was us. So they must have known we were okay. So we get back to the car, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're fine. We just got back to the..." "Yeah, 2 people died, and they said it was on the same lake and blah, blah, blah." I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, well, not us. We had a great time." It was... So, yeah, that's the type of camping I like to do.
I've never done it to that extent, but I would definitely be into it.
Winter camping?
I try winter camping.
Yeah. So the way I like to explain winter camping, it's just like summer camping, but colder.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the cold. I'm not a huge, it's like a personal childhood trauma of being cold. So I don't particularly enjoy it. Like I'm always wearing sweaters in my house, even though the AC is on.
I've noticed. And you even have like a...
I have a heater. Well, not now, but down here in the basement. Yeah, I have a heater running.
See, I'm different. I love the cold. In the wintertime, I don't turn the heat on and my windows are open.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. It's like, and at work, I wear a sweater. And everybody's like, why do you wear a sweater? It's like, because I like running hot.
Yeah.
It's just personal things.
Dude, back when I live in a condo now. Back when I lived in a house with a driveway, I'd shovel the snow in a t-shirt and shorts.
No.
I get hot.
So do I, but I like to run hot. We're like 25 minutes. We haven't.
And that was just story time.
That was just story time. You know
sorry,
what? I can get used to that.
We should open up with the stories.
We should open up with stories.
It's a little...
Except, like your story was way more intricate than mine.
Yeah.
But that's okay. There's always next week.
Yeah, I got to think of some more.
I got to think of some more
good
too.
ones. Oh, I have another one I can think. Yeah. One that happened to my brother that I was there for, which was amazing.
I have a much more colorful hillside story for next time.
I think mine are usually like injuries.
See,
helicopters.
I haven't injured myself. I have never had to do that. Come close, but no dice, you know? Anyway, what are we talking about this week?
What were we going to talk about? Life. We have on our whiteboard, our good old trusty show note whiteboard.
I think
in the center.
Lifestyle. I think it's a continuation of us chirping from last week.
Yeah, because we didn't really touch on... Like, it has some stuff, something to do with social media, like the way people peacock on social media and stuff, like touting their lifestyles.
We're just trying to peacock on social media so we can get sponsored by other Muskoka Brewery. Hello,
hey, Muskoka Brewery,
Fixed Gear Brewing, Guelph, Ontario.
Fixed Gear Brewing, hey,
it's down the street.
I've seen quite a few people wearing those T-shirts from Fixed Gear Brewing.
It's 10 minutes down the street.
Yeah, so
I guess we've given away our position, but that's fine. Okay, where were we gonna start with that? I don't remember. We went off. We were really spaced out in that story time, which is good.
That's cool. Lifestyle. I don't know. Just the way people peacock.
Should we talk about Karens? Because they've been in the news a shit ton.
Yeah. You want to touch on lifestyle first?
Okay.
Because I just feel like
lifestyle is relative to your headspace and time as you go through different phases of your life. Like
to an extent, but also it's how people measure themselves to each other.
But that's relative to where you are in life at different phases of your life. Like I don't
think that matters because
really?
There are people that go into debt that are driving a car they can't afford just to put up a front.
Yeah, but you're perma-fucked at that point. Like I used to definitely like when I had a different body than I have now, I used to make sure that people would see me having it on not just in social media, but just I used to almost never wear a shirt. And like that, I definitely don't do that anymore. Even at a certain time that I still have that body, I didn't show it off like I used to because I got a little bit wiser about that. And then I didn't, I don't know. It's just like, it was relative to a certain time of my life, like to a certain phase. But like for me, I've never done it from a financial standpoint. Like I've never, like what you're saying is like people just want to make an example of themselves financially, which is a horrendous way to compare yourself to your peers.
Yeah. And it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable in the slightest. It's just a really fucking dumb, insecure way to go about life. And it's sad because you see a lot of it. And especially 25 and younger, it's like, you want to be seen driving that car. You know what I mean? Like you want to be seen that. And I remember when I bought my car, I drive a base model Volkswagen. It's gray. It's not flashy. It's not fancy. There's nothing special about it.
Yeah.
But I paid cash for it at the time. And it's a 4-year-old car, and I bought it off the lot. And at the time, the friends that I was socializing with, they were like, "Oh, dude, like get a Charger, be like Dom's Charger from Fast and Furious," and like
I live my life quarter mile at a time.
Oh yeah, because I do, and it was like all this shit's like, "Oh, dude, like he's got an Infiniti, he's got this, he's got that, he's
yeah."
It was like, cool, like that's awesome,
yeah,
good on you. But it's like, and that was like an interesting thing about maybe the kind of friends that I had, or their priorities at that time, as I've changed my priorities from that time. Oh, Derek's getting a phone call. He needs a second.
Who is this? Who are you? Where are the other trucks going? Rachel. That's my Batman impression. Where are the other trucks going?
They're wasting our film.
Rachel.
They're wasting our audio.
I don't know who this is. I'm not picking it up.
Uh,
I don't know a 519 number.
I don't know. If I don't recognize it, I'm not picking
I
it up.
don't recognize that either. It's probably one of those. This is the CRA. You owe money. If you do not pay, the cops will be sent for you.
Do you know who it was? It was probably like duct cleaning services. They're the only people that check up on you, or me.
That's true. I wonder how many like dead people they find in a year just because he usually picks up. He didn't pick up this time. Someone go knock on his door.
I remember I was watching this dude. This guy lives, speaking of lifestyles, the van life. That's what we should talk about, van life. Because that's been on my mind for a while. Anyway, this guy was getting a phone call about ducks, and he's on the phone with them. He's like, dude, I live in a fucking van.
Yeah.
Like, you want to clean these ducks? Like, how'd you get this number? Where do you get this shit from?
Yeah.
It's like
you can blow out my AC vents if you'd like.
they got some dead
some
dead animals that's curled up in
air.
a van. God.
What were we talking about? How did we get to duct cleaning? Because I got a 519 number.
Yeah.
And before that, it was Rachel. Rachel. Fucking love that movie. Where are the other trucks going?
There's a lifestyle.
I swear to God, swear to me.
Batman.
Fucking love Christian Bale's Batman.
A little aggressive. Kind of liked it.
What's wrong with you?
It's funny too because I can only see like the part of your face where your mouth, and I can't see your mouth. So you have like the opposite of a Batman cowl.
I do.
Because
the underlighting of the table is like I'm getting the shadows of my eyebrows on my forehead. Yeah,
I can only assume I look the same.
You do.
We are so off topic today.
What were we talking about? Lifestyle. People peacocking, trying to afford cars that they can't pay for.
That's a huge one in this generation.
Also, I don't know why. Like if I see someone with a pair of $200 jeans,
my question is why?
I can't. Yeah.
Why? Like I can't justify that.
Yeah. Like I hate. I have a little bit of like a touch of OCD. Okay. So I don't like having new things just because I'm always worried they're gonna get damaged or worn down or whatever. When I get a new pair of shoes, it takes me a good, I'd say, month to work up the courage to wear them, because I think if I put them on and the second I just scuff the toe or something, I'm like, they're ruined. They're ruined. Like paid all this money for these brand new shoes. They're ruined.
Dude,
although I never pay full price, I always go for sales.
Have you seen my fucking shoes that are stapled together?
Oh yeah.
The Blundstones?
That's right. You showed me the other day. I'm like, hey, it works.
It works. Those are 5 years old. They look like shit. They're stapled together. They're burnt to the toe. They have no grip left on them. They look like crap. They're falling apart. The tags are missing, but I love them. It's like, I'd rather not buy a new pair of shoes because those are just so comfy, and I'm actually attached to them. I enjoy those shoes. They've been with me everywhere.
Yeah.
And people look at me, and they probably think I'm fucking homeless by the way that they look. Like, they're literally stapled together, and you can see it. And it's like, yeah, but they work. They work really nice. Like, they're super comfy.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's like, I don't care about a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. And I can't fathom spending $200 on a pair of jeans.
The interesting one that I find is that girls, for a while, were wearing like the full-sized Wellington boots, but they were like green and they had like a red and white tag on them. I have no fucking idea what brand that is. I don't really care. If you want to educate me, feel free to do so.
No, I have no idea about fashion.
And I chirped this one chick. I'm like, oh, she can be at the Dairy Barn at 8 and be in the club by 11. And I was in front of other people, and some people just started laughing, and she was really rather offended because I made the comparison of those boots to Dairy Barn boots.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's what those are. So the fact that you're using that as a fashion statement, I'm really confused.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do explain, because I'm just kerfuffled upstairs.
Yeah. And that's but that's
and they're expensive too.
Yeah. So what's the brand of shoes you were saying?
Blundstones.
The ones with the girls were wearing though.
No, that was a whole other boot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What was that one?
I have no idea. I have
Hunters?
No idea
Is that what it is? They look like rain galoshes. Because I had this conversation with my wife. I'm like, these boots. They're called Hunters. They're
Could be. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Out of England or something. So freaking expensive for a pair of rubber boots. And I'm like, hey, do you realize you can go to
TSC,
any big box retailer and buy these rubber boots for like $20-$30? They're rain boots.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah,
That's them. That's 100% them.
The Hunters.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
I don't understand. $199.
Don't understand that.
$199. What am I seeing here? That is just so. Oh, sale price $135. That's not a big deal. I just don't fucking understand it. Like, to me, that's what my dad wore when he went in the barn.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what they are. The fact you're trying to make a fashion statement, I'm thoroughly confused. Anyway, that's just something that I don't. That and Uggs, those other boots.
I hate those Uggs.
What the fuck are those?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
Don't like them.
I don't understand them.
Especially when
I have so
have
many
you ever
friends.
seen them when they're like
Old.
Yeah, and they're like folded over sideways. They're not even
like,
stepping on the soles anymore.
They're stepping on like half.
They're stepping on the leg half because they're folded under.
Here's the thing. People only started wearing these things because other people were wearing these things. And you don't want to show that you're not wearing
those things because you're not cool. Oh, man.
Oh.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you who's going to be the cooler one out of this situation. From if you spent all this money on these freaking $200 rain boots. I can go buy a pair of $20 rain boots. I have an extra $80 in my pocket now.
Yep.
Who really won? Or like when you buy a $4,000 purse.
I don't get that.
Why don't you buy a $100 purse?
Carries the same money.
And then put the cash in there. Like,
Right.
it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. But you're looking at it from a logical perspective. A lot of the time that this shit happens is
The
because
vanity.
It's illogical. It's
Yeah.
complete fucking vanity, dude. Those boots that I have, those Blundstones, they're 5 years old. I paid 200 and something. No, back then, that's when they first came out.
Yeah.
Before they were a fashion statement, I guess. I paid about $300 because those are the safety boot kind.
Yes.
So mine are anyway. And it's like, I fucking love them. They're so practical. I'll spend money if it's practical. Like, I will.
Yeah.
Because there's a purpose to it.
Well, like, I think that's what I sent you earlier today. When it came to this lifestyle stuff.
That was Gary V.
So what I like to say, this is what I always mention to people, is buy what you need, not what you want.
Yeah.
Okay? Like
If you're able to distinguish the difference between the two,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's my number one money saving tip to everyone listening.
Yeah.
Buy what you need, not what you want. Okay? Everyone's going to have that, obviously, that impulse of, oh, I want this, and you pick it up.
Fuck yeah.
Take a step back just for a second and say, do I need this or do I want it? Okay? Because I'm pretty sure everyone can look around their room, their house, their garage, whatever, of all the wants that they purchased and
Yep.
are just sitting there.
Yep.
Okay? And you can, instead of looking at it and see the item, look at it and think that it's a pile of cash.
That's no longer actually has the value.
That's how I view things. Or I'll even view things as, okay, this item is this much money. And in my head I'm going, how many hours did I have to work for that?
That's
and try to reason with myself, is that reasonable?
yes.
And then I'll weigh the options in my head going, do I need it? Do I need it immediately? Do I need it now? Is it going to be useful for me?
Again, if you're taking a logical approach to it,
I know, but most people aren't.
they're not. So because you're paying for it with hours out of your life. It's not so much with money. Like you've traded hours for money, and here you're trading money for things, which is essentially at the root hours of your life. So
Yeah.
here's a bigger issue I have with trading hours of your life is Christmas gifts. I'm not a personal fan of Christmas gifts. I don't like receiving Christmas gifts unless they're like
buddy.
useful things that, I can actually use. Like you get me a gift card somewhere that I can buy, I don't know, a new work hat, or something practical, some new tools that I can always play around with, or something, a gift card of something useful. That's fine. But it's like a lot of people don't do. They like to, and this is just what I've observed, and it may not be necessarily correct. This is just from my perspective. Go above and beyond in the type and value of the gifts purchased for somebody else, as in gifts are a token of my appreciation of you. Here's the value of this items, whatever the fuck it might be. Therefore, that correlates to my level of appreciation, of affection, based on the value of the item. Mm-hmm. That is so fucked up. That is so fucked up.
I don't think that's it at all. I think they're competing with the other person's gift. That's what it is.
They are.
It has nothing to do with you.
It's correct. But here's the catch. Yeah. Say you spent $100. Just use a square number.
Yeah.
And you get $20. You make $20 an hour. You've spent 5 hours of your life on this for me. Are you actually going to spend 5 hours of your life with me on Christmas? Possibly, but probably not, depending who you are. And like $100 is a pretty low number on what people spend on each other. Like you're talking like 400, 500, 600. I've seen some ridiculous fucking gifts, like in the thousands. If it is 1,000, like you spent 100 hours, are you going to spend 100 hours to really show your appreciation and have like 100 hours of quality time with me? Probably not. So what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like I have a huge issue with that. I just don't understand it. Maybe I grew up poor and it just doesn't correlate in my head.
Yeah.
But I just don't equate the emotional attachment to that level of value of things.
Yeah. No, that was me too. Growing up, we weren't the most well-off family. We never went hungry, but I'm telling you, we weren't rich. That's for sure.
Fuck.
But like I wore hand-me-downs.
Oh yeah, so did I.
You know what I mean? Like
I wore hand-me-downs
because I'm first generation Canadian here, right? Like my parents came here from the Azores, so I'm first generation Canadian. So
yep,
you know they had it pretty hard coming up here. So
yep,
I don't know. There's definitely some sort of value I put to certain things, but I'm not I'm not materialistic at all. I don't care for things. I care for experiences.
Yep. I'm the same way.
I want just like, you know how we can do the Dom and Derek story time. It's these experiences. Yeah. You can't put money on that. And you can put a hospital bill on that for
100%.
fishing hooks in the eye.
And that's why it's the comment I made earlier about your priorities based on where you are in different phases of your life. Like for a certain phase of my life, my social circle was about that. Was about making those statements, and it was things over experiences. And it's just like, well, this doesn't align with me anymore. It's no longer a priority. I'd rather have those experiences. And like I was saying earlier in my story, it's like, fuck, I'll go by myself to have experiences, and I've done that numerous times in really fucked up places. Sometimes by myself, just because I want them. And if nobody wants to go with me, that's fine. I'll go. I don't give a shit.
Well, here's the thing too, is that you can't wait on other people. You can't wait on other people. Okay. They're always going to come up with excuses. You got to do what you want to do. Like we said before in the previous podcast, do what makes you happy. Find your happy, right?
Yep. And it probably won't be in material things.
No,
and if
definitely
it is,
not.
You should reevaluate your life.
Yeah. So here's an example. I've always wanted to go skydiving. I wanted to share that experience with one of my friends. So I would always reach out. Hey, do you want to go skydiving? Hey, do you want to go skydiving? I know a place, blah, blah, blah. Come with me, whatever. Oh, yeah. Let's go. And then the day comes. Oh, no, I can't, blah, blah, blah. You know, the money, blah, 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 whatever. And then I thought to myself, I probably went through 2 summers doing that. And then I thought to myself, why am I waiting? I don't have to wait for anyone. I'm like, I'm going to go by myself. So one Saturday morning, one of my random weekends I had off. Saturday morning, like 7 a.m., got up, went, didn't tell anyone where I was going. So I just went out and I went skydiving for the first time.
It's fucking sick.
And then I had the option to have a videographer jump with me. So I got the video of the experience as well. So they follow you during the training on the ground and the jump and the jump after. So I get home, everyone's home. Oh, where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. We were trying to text you. I'm like, oh, yeah. Everyone, sit down for a second. So I sat everyone down. I sat my whole family down. And I said, let me show you something. I went through the DVD in, and just boom, right away. The thing comes up, skydive. And I'm just like, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait anymore. And let me tell you, I'm so happy
you did it,
that I did it, because that was a new passion that I found. Yep. I loved skydiving. I was a natural at it. It seemed, because
I want to try it so fucking bad.
I flew through. I did the progressive free fall program, so I'm a licensed skydiver. I'm a licensed solo skydiver. You do, I think, 7 jumps, and you're doing different things on each jump to progress through the program.
Yep.
If you're jumping with coaches the whole time, so if you don't meet their standards or meet the standards of the CSPA, Canadian Sport Parachute Association, then you don't pass. You have to redo that jump until you pass. I flew through it in about, I think, it ended up being 2 weekends. I flew through it.
That's
like
it?
seven jumps in
That's a lot.
probably like 3 or 4 days. Done. Solo certified. Learned how to pack my own parachutes. I was packing other people's parachutes.
It's fucking sick.
I would go out every Saturday morning, go out and jump. Like, it was a new passion, and it's honestly life-changing. Right? And I wouldn't have found that had I waited for someone that whole time.
Yep.
So don't wait for people.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, you got to do what you want. You got to do what you like.
So,
But like I said, that's an experience.
Yep.
That was a life-changing experience. And it's not a materialistic thing. It's and no one will understand
unless you
go and do it.
It's the exact same thing, referencing back to my previous story about Hillside. People look at it, oh, it's just a bunch of hippies. It's like, yes, there's some of the best fucking people. If you're listening to this and you're part of the fam there, you know who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's just some of the best people I have ever come across in one place and time. I have yet to see that in any other portions of the quote-unquote real world. I have yet to see that replicated. These people are fantastic. And I have way worse stories about that, way better stories. They're just a little bit more edgy that I will never share on air for obvious reasons.
For legal reasons.
And a bunch of... anyway. It's like, but I'll tell my friends though. People are like, oh, dude, like that sounds so awesome. And it's like, yeah, you gonna come next year? Yeah, we'll think about it.
Yeah, think about it. Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're so full of shit. It's like, here I'm telling you, but you're still afraid of what? Mm-hmm. You're camping at Guelph, bro. You live in Guelph. You can go home, and that's just a very small example. Or like no one that I'm aware of has ever driven 10,000 kilometers by themselves that I'm aware of. And it was the best life experience in my life.
Yeah.
It's the best experience I've ever done. You know what? If it wasn't for COVID and I had a little bit more cash and I had 2 weeks off, 3 weeks, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
I'd do it again tomorrow. Are you serious? I just go. I would literally just pack the car with half the stuff this time.
I'm coming with.
Oh, dude.
Only if my wife lets me.
Yeah, that's the old. You gotta get that. It's probably not gonna happen, but this sounds like a you problem.
Rachel. No, her name's Cassandra.
Her name's Cassandra. I was gonna say she's gonna be upset if you said that. Well, she doesn't listen, so she won't know.
She won't know exactly.
She'll have no idea we're plotting.
I'm going on a road trip.
You did mention it. She's
only
just not
only
listening.
If she lets me.
Okay,
so,
well,
son of a bitch.
I'm still not in that predicament.
Yeah.
It's not really a predicament, but it sounds like one when you're trying to plot these occasions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you still have to. You have to do it's not irrelevant of people, but you have to do it anyway. You have to do it, whatever that might be. Because if you just wait on people, and like even if I went on trips with somebody, it's like you would have to go with the person that you really vibe with. Even fishing, if you went fishing with somebody that you don't vibe, it's like fuck. This person's 30 feet away from you, just killing your vibe.
Which has happened.
And like, dude, I cannot stand that. Like, I've always operated kind of independently. It's like, and I can't stand people killing my vibe. Whatever that vibe might be, there's a few people that I can support for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's like, that's a handful of people. Apart from that, no, I won't go on a road trip with the majority of humans. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to be in a car with you, just straight up. I don't like you that much.
That's the hard part.
Nothing
really.
personal.
No, yeah, that's the hard part is trying to find someone that's just going to be down to do whatever.
Not all of your friends are going to be down to do everything.
Exactly.
Like you have to realize that, and you can't. You have to see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Like
I think we would be good road trip buddies.
I think so.
It would work.
I think.
Because are you the type of person where you're like driving down the highway and then you see something off the highway, like, holy fuck, let's go see what that is?
Yeah, all the time.
Then pull off and
all the time. And then there's people that are just like, and we just want to get there. It's like, yeah, but you have nothing to do when you get there. It's like me, like I'll fucking sleep in a Walmart parking lot. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I've done that a few times.
I don't give a shit. It's like, well, that's the thing is like, if my significant other was all about the hotels and comfortably, I probably wouldn't be dating said person because like you don't reflect my value system, I guess you could say. Or it's like that materialistic example I said earlier.
Yeah.
It's like you don't like I just don't vibe with that. And everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, man.
See, like, here's the thing. When you have an experience, you could talk about it, bring it up, have people try to understand, you know, what it was that you went through, what you enjoyed about it, whatever. That's something you could always bring up and share with others.
Yep.
No one's gonna go open their closet, dig through a bunch of shit to pick up a pair of Yeezys or whatever to bring it. Oh, look at this. Okay, I'll take my experience over your $1,000 pair of shoes any day.
Right.
You know, and those things that those materialistic things, those items, those are things that are always going to be pushed away, pushed down. You're going to forget about it. These experiences never go away.
They're never going to leave. And I think you and I were talking about living in a van last time off there.
Living in a van down by the river.
It's like I've been harping about living in a van for 2 fucking years. If you've
I would
known
love
me
to do that.
If you've known me in that 2 years, you know that I haven't shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, I want to do a cross country road trip.
I just want to live in one. I think Canada's one of the worst places to live unless you're living on the West Coast because we just have shitty weather for the majority of the year. I mean, if you're living in the States, you know, you can hit certain portions of the year where it never freezes there. You can stay there and go back to other. You can live it much better in the States than you can here. Here you have a lot of limitations, but it's like if I could, yeah, I would do it. I would do it at least for a couple years. You know how many experiences you would rack up, and it's like, yeah, after like, do I want to be quote unquote homeless? No. Do I want to live in a house? Yeah, eventually.
You know what? There's some people that make it work.
That's
like they survive and still thrive doing that. Like living in their van.
Because you're purposely bringing hardship into your life that can change you. And you're not living a materialistic lifestyle.
Not at all.
For the simple fact of you can't fit that shit in your van. I guess we should explain what van life means, but to those that don't know.
Yeah.
You can explain it?
I think you have a better, you can do, you do it. You have a better
articulation of
probably, yeah,
mechanical systems.
It has nothing to do about you don't have the means to live a certain way, like in a house or a condo. It's not about that. It's just you choose to live in the van so you can just get up and go.
Yep.
Right? So you can have those adventures. Like
every
day is literally an adventure.
You're volunteering for it. I think it's hugely... Okay, so I guess I should explain it. Is if you take a cargo van, say like a Sprinter, or a ProMaster or a Ford Transit, some of the larger ones, and even people do it with like 70s Westphalias. Like I've seen it all.
I've seen those. All. Yeah, like a school bus. I've seen someone
huge school bus
renovate a school bus.
A small school bus. You just renovate that into what is legally an RV, and then you live out of that full time traveling around. Mm-hmm. Now, the way that you earn money, there's a huge spectrum on how people go about it. Some people just do it from savings. Some earn on the road. Some work on the road. Yeah. Sometimes it just fits your lifestyles for whatever it is you got going on. Some people do that, especially if they're skiers or backpackers or adventurers or like whatever. There's definitely some lifestyles that works well with. But I think it's been hugely blown out of the water as far as glamorized on social media, particularly Instagram, because there's pictures of like beautifully filtered chick in a bikini with a surfboard coming out of the beach
with
into the van.
Like the cedar planking on the walls and
just like huge glamorized to kingdom come, and it just isn't that. Like 90% of the time you're going to be living in a parking lot. That's not glamorous. That's part of the lifestyle because the other 10% is just wicked adventures. But you're living in parking lots most of the time. You can't hold that much water. You don't have running water. You probably won't have a running shower if you build it in this country because you have too many mechanical problems with water freezing. But you're subjugating yourself to a very high degree of uncomfort, but it'll make you into a
Yeah.
fucking animal of a person, like in a good way.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's going to really, really whittle down your needs and wants.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Because you literally can't fit that.
you can't fit anything
Like,
there.
you want another sweater? Where are you going to put it?
Yeah.
Like, that's the level of room that you have, which is essentially zero. And people kind of build the vans around their needs. Like, do you want a bike? Okay, well, if you
Yeah.
want to fit a bike, there goes a third of the volume you have to accommodate to just fitting a bike.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to consider when you're living that lifestyle. A lot of people try it and they don't like it. It's not for them. That's fair enough. But for a lot, it's changed them forever.
Yeah. Well, there's even that thing with the tiny houses. People living in the tiny houses.
Fucking love to do a tiny house.
I would like to do a tiny house.
I was designing some electrical systems for tiny houses at a different workplace.
Yeah.
That one never. Those are hard to pull off. I think right now the biggest problem with those is, as with van life, is legalities. It's like, where are you going to park?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are you going to park your tiny home? I think it's fan-fucking-tastic that there's a large portion, not a large, but there's a significantly increasing portion of people our age. I don't know if you come across this in your demographic, because you're slightly older than I am,
Yeah.
that would 100% move into a tiny house if they could. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen anything like that? Like amongst your friends
Mostly,
groups?
no, definitely not amongst my friends. Just things I've seen online.
Mm.
Like I've seen people do that. Definitely not amongst my friends.
I've seen it.
I'm the only one of me amongst my friends.
You're the black sheep?
Yeah, like no one else likes to do what I like to do.
Doesn't that fuck with your mental health, though?
It does, because like I said, I want to share these experiences with people, right? Like that, it probably brings me more joy to have someone else there with me, so I can see them enjoy it too.
Right.
But on the other hand, like especially when it comes to the camping stuff, if they're not as well versed in
Camping? Outdoor?
in the type of camping I do, the backcountry camping, then it's difficult. Just because now instead of just taking care of myself, I'm taking care of two people.
Right.
Because there's not much that they can do for
Execute.
themselves. Yeah. So that's the hard part. But besides that, I just want them to experience the outdoors.
Yeah.
Like even in one of my Instagram posts, like that's literally what I said. I'm like, you guys got to get out here and explore where you live, right? And it was a picture of Northern Ontario. Like I'm just like, you gotta.
It's here.
Yeah,
It's here.
but that's the thing too, is that they probably don't know places like this exist. Because if you were to look at this picture and see these like rocky granite outslopes going down into the water with these trees, and you would probably think that's nowhere near attainable, nowhere near here. They're probably like, oh, it's probably in BC somewhere with all the. No, man, this is Northern Ontario. You wouldn't believe what's out
where
there.
you can find.
Yeah.
And it's not even that far.
And it's not that far. People always think, oh, you got to drive so far, dude. 2 hours.
Yeah. They think
Maybe
like
less.
they're going to Timmins or something.
Yeah.
Or Sudbury, and you're just
It always
not.
sounds bad, but just think about it this way: you drive an hour, do a pit stop in Barrie, and drive another hour. Boom, you're in the backcountry. Like
Yep.
you're out there, man.
I think that's definitely something that I want to get in touch with over time going forward as far as hobbies. I guess we should say that we had the title came from last week when we were out for a walk, and we said the lifestyle of the rich and famous, because we were talking about Joe Rogan, because
Yeah.
he can do all these hunting, these fishing, these martial arts, because he's fucking rich.
Yeah.
And if you're rich, you have time to do whatever the fuck you want.
That's the thing we had really touched on. Like the only reason,
We wanted to bring this up.
yeah, like we had talked about this off air, that I was like, the only reason I want money, like I said, I'm not a materialistic person at all, but the only reason I want money is to afford myself time. That's all I really want. I
Right.
want to afford myself the time to go and do the things that I want, so I'm not stuck 5-6 days a week working.
Right.
Okay? If you have the money, you have time.
Right.
So I just want time to go experience more things. That's it. That's the only reason I want more money. It's not to have a fancy car, a bigger house, or what. I'm gonna like the car that I have. I'm gonna drive this thing right to the ground.
Same.
I paid it. It's paid off. I'm just paying insurance on it, and my insurance just dropped recently, which I'm happy about.
Yep.
Right. Like I'm gonna run this thing to the ground. I don't care about upgrading my vehicle at all.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way.
I just want the time to go have some more experiences. I want the time to go fall through a cloud again. And that's something that most people can't say.
I want that's 100% on my bucket list. But again, to me, it's a matter of finances and time.
Yeah.
Two things that I'm short of. Like I have the willingness. Like if there's a triangle, I guess you could say of like willingness, time, and money. I guess that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Or it's a Venn diagram.
Well, no, if it's
got
got
the circles.
Well, like okay, so if it is, the chances of you being in the middle are somewhat statistically slim. Unless you're fucking rich. But yeah. I'm thinking the same way you are. It's like I'd rather live in a van, be quote unquote poor by modern standards. Mm-hmm. But it's like, fuck, man. Like after 3 years of living van life, dude, like first of all, that'll change your fucking life. Second of all, the experiences and stories you'll have to tell. Well, not even just to tell as a bargaining chip, but just that are in the back of your head that you survived it, even though it was rather comfortable because there's way worse human experiences over the course of our species have ever had than living in a fucking van that's all decked out.
Yeah.
It's like that you got you. And you can't buy that.
No.
You can't buy that confidence.
It's sad that the worst thing that can happen to someone right now is that they don't have Wi-Fi. They can't connect to Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, I can go spend 5 days in the woods, and then when I get home, that first shower I take when I get home is the best shower I've ever had in my life. That night's sleep that I have in my bed, it's the best night's sleep I've ever had in my life. You know what I mean? Just compared to what I had went through while sleeping in the dirt in the woods.
It's 100% true.
You know what I mean?
It recalibrates your value system. If you want to quit sugar,
as I have,
24-hour fast. So I want to try that 24-hour fast because it actually makes your body. I can't explain it. I'm not a scientist.
Okay, I can explain it to you. Yes, please. Okay, like I don't eat sugar. Okay, if I were to eat something like a donut or something like that, I feel sick. I feel sick to my stomach because now that's just not normal for your body anymore. Okay, let me tell you, the best thing you can do is to just cut all that out. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. You're actually going to have more energy because for some reason people think, oh, I need to have sugar for energy. No, you don't. You think you do because
that's what your body's craving.
That's what your body's craving. That's what you're running on is the sugar. So you're always running at a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And then guess what? You have that crash. And that's when you're sluggish and you don't have energy. So that's why you think you need the sugar to have the energy. Guess what? Take that sugar out of there, you don't have that crash anymore. You never have a crash. So you're always up. You always feel good.
That's your challenge for you, Derek.
That's not my challenge. No, I'm there, bud.
It's like get me off sugar.
Get you off the sugar?
What did you say when I rolled into work the other day and you were about to leave?
Oh yeah.
And I was holding
this Tim Hortons horribly processed piece of I don't know from Tim Hortons.
Yeah, that's what it was. And you're just like, well, isn't that just processed?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it'll make me feel like a piece of shit before I even walk in the building. But it's true. It was right.
But you know what? It's not just sugar. It's just carbohydrates themselves. So what people need to do is substitute the word carbohydrate or carbs with the word sugar, because I think that means more. Because that's exactly what a carbohydrate is. It's just sugar. Your body's going to break it down to sugar.
Simple sugars?
Yeah. So just think about it that way. So whenever you're reading the labels of something, when you say, oh, it's only got this many carbs. Oh, yeah, it's got that many sugar. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat carbs. I don't know. I'm just preaching at this point. But no, I'm telling you, I feel like ever since I started eating low carb, I feel great.
I'm going to aim to clean up my diet. How about that, Derek? I'll aim for it. I'll try it week by week. I'll give you progress reports.
But you need to start eating your vegetables, bro.
I bought bananas.
That's not a vegetable.
It's a fruit.
But
it's a fucking start, dude.
To be honest, you shouldn't be eating bananas either. They're pretty high in sugars.
Would you like me to eat no fruits, Derek?
No. So... berries are the way to go because they're high in fiber. So blueberries and raspberries and blackberries, because the fiber cuts the sugar. So for however many however much fiber you have, you can substitute that out of the carbs and the sugar. So berries tend to even out. With
Eat your berries, kids.
Eat your berries. Hey, kids.
And on that bouncing bombshell, I think we're well over an hour.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Are we?
We are.
Get out of town.
Substantially.
Dom's just running over to the computer to have a look.
An hour and 4 minutes.
Oh, dude, we got to cut that 8 minutes ago.
But we didn't. Hope you enjoyed the episode. See you guys next time.
Later.